Medical Apartheid was written by Harriet A. Washington, a journalist and former ethics fellow at Harvard Medical School. She tells some harrowing stories and claims that throughout the 19th century, medical schools disproportionately used blacks in live surgical demonstrations. In more recent times, she writes, they have been disproportionately enrolled in risky, non-beneficial research in gynecology, oncology, surgery, pediatrics, infectious disease, and genetics. While the worst excesses are a thing of the past, blacks are still at greater risks than whites of being conscripted into research without giving their consent.
Like you trust, like you know if you're going to do something. Taking care.
What does it mean?
Taking care.
Taking care of you?
To believe in someone.
One way is that I know you won't deceive me. If I trust you, I know you won't deceive me. Two is that I know I can count on you. I know I can count on you to follow through. I know I can count on you to do what you say you're going to do. I know I can count on you to do a good job. So if I trust you, then I'm giving part of me to you.
Trust is being able to believe what someone says, like if they say they're going to do something or whatever they say, you can, I don't want to say trust. You can believe it because you know it's actually the truth.
Yeah.
Trust?
Yes.
Trust is having faith and belief in someone or something.
Trust is being able to other people they can depend on you.
An unbreakable bond.
Having faith in a person and believing in them.
Trust is, I guess, putting all your past beliefs aside and like putting your all into what somebody else's opinion.
Trust is putting your faith in someone.
Okay.
Trust is being able to count on somebody, whether that's a moment in need or just like telling a secret or trusting them to like pick up a pizza for you.
Being able to rely on someone, I guess.
Being able to rely on another human being.
Okay.
In 1932, the Tuskegee syphilis study officially began when they suggested that the PHS physicians save the expensive treatment by merely observing the course of the syphilis disease in blacks and then publishing the data. These black men were told that they were being treated for syphilis from various different ways, including spinal taps, blood draws, vitamins, amongst other things. They really weren't being treated for the disease at all. They were being observed of the disease, and then they were autopsied at the end.
Yes.
Why?
Because they take care of you when you're sick.
Trust nurses?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're nice.
They're nice? What else?
Yes. Because they take care of you.
Do you trust doctors?
Yes.
Yeah, for the most part, I haven't really had any like surgery or nothing like that. Really.
I trust them to do their job, so they go to college and be well educated, do their job well.
Okay.
Yes.
You do.
Why? Because I'm letting them touch me like it's my life.
Okay.
If I wouldn't go to them, I wouldn't trust them.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I trust them. I trust them because I don't trust them. Who else am I going to trust in my medical issue?
Yes and no. Like, yes, to a certain extent, because, I mean, like, everyone's in college, but, like, some of them cheat on exams. I don't know if they'll be really, like, accurate, like, with what they do with your body.
But the individual people that work in it, I think I trust them, but I'm a trustworthy person.
Do I trust the healthcare system? No, I don't trust it. I don't trust it because I think it's kind of skewed in favors of particular demographics and a particular populace, which kind of excludes certain types of people.
Okay.
Don't always trust in the system.
Okay.
I'm probably more inclined to trust the people.
To a degree, yes. I feel like they do what they're supposed to do, but a lot of it revolves around who has money and who doesn't.
No. I think it's focused on getting your money.
I don't know. I would like to trust the healthcare system.
In the 1940s, radiation experiments were conducted to discover the physiological effects to the body and if high levels of radiation could cause illnesses. Majority of the subjects were African Americans who were considered unhealthy and did not expect to live much longer. Throughout the experiment, the subjects had teeth extracted and bone segments removed to measure the amount of radioactivity. They were not informed that they were being injected with radiation, and this typically was performed prior to any treatment that could actually benefit their current medical state.
For the most part, yes.
Why?
Because, again, with the experience that I've had, I think you can tell the nurses who are most invested in their jobs.
How do you tell?
Because they're direct, because they're attentive, because they answer questions, because they go above and beyond what they're asked to do.
Yes.
Why?
Because whenever you're in the hospital, the nurses are the one that actually take care of you and do everything for you. The doctor kind of just pops in.
Nurse. I can't say it's one of the most trusted professions. I don't have any type of skepticism about nursing because there are some flaws. And I've read a couple of articles and things where there's some corrupt nurses, some malpractice, so to speak, dealing with nurses. So I can't say it's one of the most trusted, but when I do think of a nurse, I do think of someone who's well educated, know what they're doing, and kind of like the sidekick to the doctor.
Okay.
It's kind of hard. I really don't know.
You don't know what you don't trust nurses?
I mean,
or do you trust nurses?
I do, but I don't know if I would say the most out of everywhere I go.
Okay.
I mean, they do have to deal with a lot, in the emergency room, it can be real tragic. But I don't know if it's the most.
So you don't know if it's, you wouldn't say?
I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle?
No, I don't agree. Okay. Because personal experience with my mom, I've seen some dirty nurses, so I don't think they're all great.
There's a lot of professions, so I can't say saying it's the most trusted is kind of hard, but yeah, I believe it's pretty trustworthy.
Okay. And why?
In my experience, I haven't experienced any nurses doing anything crooked, so I guess that's why.
Okay.
Again, yes and no, because some nurses some nurses take their job seriously and others don't. Some will not go out on weekends and just focus on their career path, and some of them will just be like, oh, after this, I'm about to go take some shots.
Yeah, just because I think nurses have to be trustworthy, because since they're handling a lot of personal business and private business between people, they themselves have to be trustworthy, so I trust that they're trustworthy.
I'm going to agree with that. I think nurses are more trustworthy than doctors, just through personal experience.
I would guess so. You have to trust your doctors, you have to trust your nurse, they take care of you. You have to trust their opinion to get what's right. Because we're not doctors. We have to trust them to know what's wrong with us.
Since the 90s, orphans and children in foster care with HIV have been subjected to involuntary research studies on the efficacy and toxicity of antiretrovirals under the guise that these trials are therapeutic. Some anti-HIV drugs, however, have caused serious side effects such as organ failure, cancer, and brain damage. Many children were given cocktails of up to 7 potent medications, and these cocktails do nothing for HIV-positive children who have not yet developed AIDS, but put them at risk for serious side effects. In New York City, almost 99% of children in orphanages and foster care are African American or Hispanic. Most of these children are too young to provide consent, so they have no say in whether they will participate in these experiments. Their participation is decided for them by the city or an allied governmental agency. They have no protection and no power, making them easy targets for potentially harmful drug trials.
For the most part, mine have been positive. And I haven't heard any negative stories except for people without insurance and how much it costs.
My finger's still broke. It was supposed to be fixed.
So is that a bad experience?
Yes.
Why?
Because they never fixed it.
They never fixed it?
And it's still broke.
bad.
When I got my wisdom teeth out, it was fun. I was clowning with the nurses. We were having a good time.
So it was a good experience?
Oh yeah, I'd do it again.
It was bad, yeah.
It was bad? Okay, and why?
Because my mom was clearly in pain, and I hate to see her cry. So when she cries, I get mad, and they just weren't doing their job.
And why?
All my family members has been in the hospital. We haven't had any bad experiences with nurses.
Yes, I do. It was a couple of years back. Like it was whenever my granddad was in the hospital, and they took care of like the whole family. Like whenever I was like we're all in there. So I mean it was pretty positive. So like it was nice.
I've been hospitalized before, and it was okay. I mean, I guess like I mean I was hurt, but other than that, the care and like the people that were there were really helpful and stuff like that. So it wasn't really a bad experience. So no.
I know my grandma personally got ignored when she was having heart problems in the hospital until like my aunt stepped in because my aunt's a nurse. But like personally, I've never had a bad experience.
African Americans are no strangers to genetic innovation, but unfortunately, genetic therapy has long been sabotaged by racial myths and bad science. The agenda-driven nature of much genetic research with African Americans has rendered many blacks wary of all genetic science. One of the most infamous examples within recent memory has been the family of troubled genetic initiatives surrounding sickle cell disease. In 1968 and 1969, doctors at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas grew concerned that Army basic training was suddenly proving more than usually hazardous, even deadly. Within 11 months, 4 recruits had collapsed and died suddenly, all of them African Americans. Even more alarming were the autopsy results, which showed the men's red blood cells were now sickle-shaped. Sickle cell screening created huge problems, and by the late 1960s, workplaces instituted genetic screening to protect vulnerable employees by avoiding their placement in work environments that could trigger illnesses such as sickle cell crisis. The federal government supported initiatives that encouraged widespread genetic screening of sickle cell disease, and African Americans themselves pushed for many of these initiatives to test for and counseled people at risk for sickle cell disease. So there is no doubt that many of the projects were well-intentioned. However, some were not, and in many cases, good intentions paved the medical road to perdition.
Bye, Coach.